There is some good news. The Social Security Administration is making a huge announcement very soon on expanding the monthly benefits. Monthly stimulus checks may begin to be sent out starting this month, and millions of you guys can expect to see a boost increase to their monthly benefits in just a few weeks. Next month, the SSI will see a major announcement. The cost of living adjustment for 2023, the COLA, is an annual bump in benefits designed to help Social Security keep up with inflation. And you don't need to do anything to receive this boost, and all beneficiaries is eligible for it. Next year's COLA is particularly important because it will be likely keeping record-breaking highs. Seniors could receive hundreds of dollars more per month in 2023, but there's a catch. The annual COLA generally mirrors the changes in inflation over the year. When inflation is increasing at a normal rate, the COLA generally falls at around 1 to 3% per year. But when inflation has been surging, the adjustment will be higher. This year, for instance, seniors received a whopping 5.9% increase. But after a year of breaking inflation, the COLA in 2023 will likely be significantly higher. And we won't know the official number until October, when the SSI makes its announcement. However, advocacy groups, the Senior Citizens League, estimates that it could land at around 9.6%, which would be the highest COLA since '81. Even if inflation slows down between now and October, researchers predict that the year's COLA will still fall at around 9.3%. If inflation soars, it could potentially reach a massive 10%. And while next year's COLA can go a long way toward helping seniors afford everyday necessities, it still may not be enough. Millions of our adults on Social Security, millions of people rely on Social Security to make ends meet. In fact, nearly a quarter of U.S. workers expect their benefits to be their primary source of income in retirement. However, even with yearly COLA benefits, they didn't go as far as they used to. In fact, Social Security has lost around 40% of its buying power since 2000 as a result of drying inflation, and according to the Senior Citizens League, this year alone, benefits have struggled to keep up with inflation. Despite a huge 5.9% COLA, the actual cost of inflation hovered at around 8.5% over the past 12 months. So if you're relying on Social Security to pay bills, even a higher than average COLA may not be enough for you. Rick Delaney, the chairman for the Social Security League for the Senior Citizens League, sent a letter to Congress proposing a one-time $1,400 Social Security stimulus payment for seniors. Delaney argued that these type of checks could offset higher taxes caused by a Social Security COLA increase. Delaney wrote an official statement, "We believe that a special stimulus for Social Security recipients kept afraid of higher costs that some would face if next year's COLA bumps them into a higher tax bracket, causing higher tax rates on their income and surcharges to the Medicare Part B premiums." A new coalition, the Equity and Aging Collaborative, is planning to use new index to influence priorities.
Mayor Wu, Mayor Landrieu, Senator Markey, Administrator Becerra, Governor Baker, Secretary Walsh, and so many members of the Massachusetts delegation with us. We're grateful for your support of the library over many years. I know that many of you and the state and local officials here worked closely with my Uncle Teddy for the good of this Commonwealth, and that you all share my father's love of politics. I want to recognize members of the medical community who are here, physicians, researchers, cancer survivors, students. You all save lives and bring hope and healing to patients and families suffering from cancer. I want to thank Chital for the inspiration that you provide, not just to those living with cancer, but all those who are working for a cleaner, healthier world. And I want to thank the members of my family who are here, my cousins, your families. All of you carry on your parents' work, and all of you carry on our love of Joe Biden. And I especially want to thank my husband Ed, my daughter Tatiana, and my son Jack for being here, especially Jack, who welcomed us. He always shows up for this library and for me no matter what, not just on the public days, but every day. I learned from Teddy that it's more fun to do things with family, so I'm grateful to Jack for always making this work fun. A few years ago, we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, and the world was captivated by the memory of that event. But almost more remarkable was that such a historic national achievement was set in motion by a single speech. When President Kennedy gave his speech at Rice University, the United States had only 4 short manned space flights, the longest less than 5 hours. President Eisenhower and Cold War experts said we should concentrate on developing satellites and missiles to beat the Soviets instead of going to the moon. And there were other reasons not to do it. It was expensive, eventually costing 4% of GDP, and when a time when many said the money would be better spent on building infrastructure, fighting poverty, and addressing other social problems. Not to mention the necessary materials had not yet been invented, and scientists weren't sure even that a moon landing on the surface of the moon was possible. But President Kennedy understood the power of the idea, and over time, along with his inaugural address, his call to service, the moonshot speech has become perhaps his best-known legacy. The vision, the purpose, the courage it embodied has inspired each generation to take on hard challenges and provides a metaphor to guide us as we face adversity in our own lives. My father believed that the effort to land on the moon would bring out the best in America, that everyone would contribute, that it would require invention, creativity, teamwork, commitment, and faith, and that the world would be different because of it. He didn't live to see it, but he set in motion an age of discovery and invention, of earth science and space exploration that has made America the leader of the world. As citizens, as colleagues, as friends, we can learn from his vision. It's up to each of us to set an example, to do hard things when we don't think we can, to believe in others when they take risks, to support them when it's tough, and never forget that together we can achieve great things. No one embodies that spirit more than President Joe Biden. He's lived President Kennedy's call to service throughout his life and career. As president, he has restored the soul of America, advanced freedom and democracy around the world. For more than 50 years, President Biden has been fighting for working families, affordable health care, access to a quality education, and always to honor our men and women in uniform. But perhaps the most personal fight for him is the one against cancer. As vice president, he launched his own moonshot to end cancer as we know it, and with characteristic perseverance, he is still committed to that cause. Like the Bidens, like all families, our family has lost people we love to this disease, including 3 who created and sustained this library: my Uncle Steve, my mother, and my Uncle Teddy. And I want to remember them today. Having felt the grief that comes with such loss, I've often looked to President Biden's life for inspiration. His courage and compassion, his endless empathy and abiding faith, and his confidence that we can overcome this challenge have lifted our hearts. His personal commitment and the national goal he sets today will save lives, change our country, and heal the world. I'm honored to serve in his administration and to introduce him now. Thank you.